Good afternoon, Park Meadows. I am recording this devotional for Thursday from the highway. I am not driving. Jennifer she has the con, and our puppy here is with us, having a little rest as we head up to Calgary to check on our kids. Our daughter, who's been living at home, has a new roommate, and our son Stephen, his internship up north has been canceled, and the church and the school decided it was best for him to head home. So we want to make sure that he is doing well, and then we will return to Lethbridge and look forward to being with you all again. The thoughts I want to share with you today are pretty simple. They come from James chapter 3. So I just want to read you a few verses and share a couple of thoughts this afternoon. So listen to these words, beginning at verse 3. When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole person, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. All kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and sea creatures are being tamed and have been tamed by human beings, but no one can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. I guess the thoughts that I want to share with you today are fairly simple, and it's just this. In this season, where we are finding new ways to communicate because we don't get to see each other on a regular basis, we are doing more online, and we are having more conversations where we're not seeing the person that we're necessarily talking to or about. And in this season, it can become a very easy time for us to say things that we otherwise wouldn't say. It can be a time where we are not as careful with our mouths and the things that we say or write as we would if we were face to face. And really, what James says here is not tied to a particular season. And so we don't get to say, well, I didn't mean to, I was online, it doesn't mean the same. The fact is that what we say, whether it's with our mouth or with our social media accounts, does reflect the condition of our heart. And so I want to speak to just a couple of particular ways to guard your tongue. The first is when it comes to speaking to people about why this pandemic is happening. You may have seen an article I shared from NT Wright the other day, and it's been a concern for me as I've listened to people begin to explain to non-Christians why they, from their Christian perspective, understand what God is doing. Either that He is bringing about wrath on the LGBTQ community, or that He is giving us a sign of the end times or other things. I haven't heard this from anybody at Park Meadows or anybody that I know personally, but I'm beginning to see these things pop up on the internet. I'm seeing video clips of these things, and it's really quite distressing. And I just want to make sure that we're careful not to be propagating that or passing that along or encouraging that. I think the bottom line is that we don't understand everything that the Father allows to take place. The scriptures are full of stories where God talks about how the harvest will take place in the end, and that He will then determine the righteous and the unrighteous. He will determine those things in the end of days. And so for us to see this pandemic now as God's wrath against a particular group of people, or those who have supported people, or anything in particular, I think is a little naive, and is frankly not for us to say. The fact is that God is in control. God is allowing these things to happen right now. We may not understand why, but we lean into it and we say, God, what do you want to teach me in these seasons? The second thing that I think we need to do as far as guarding our tongue is when it comes to our social media accounts and the things that we say. Listen, I don't want to get political, and I know that there are people who are supportive of both the liberal end of the political spectrum and others who are supportive of a more conservative end of the spectrum. the end of the day, the scriptures speak to us very clearly about praying for and supporting our political leaders, the leaders of our country and our province and our city, as long as they don't go against what God is saying. And so we need to be praying for Justin Trudeau and his government. We need to be praying for Jason Kenney and the Alberta government, and we need to be praying for the mayor and those who are looking after the city of Lethbridge. We need to be careful about the things that we post or the things that we repost and share when they speak against or tear down our leadership. And so we just need to be mindful of that. The other thing we need to be mindful of is of the other things that we share on social media that may mock or make fun of people. We're doing more online all of the time while we're stuck in our homes, and we just need to be careful that as we increase the amount that we share on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, that we are giving greater attention to what it is that we're sharing. And the third and final thing that I would say is, let's be careful with the things that we say with those who we live with. If you are sharing your home with your family or with roommates or with others, let's not always think about our neighbor and our coworkers and those outside of our homes or on social media. Let's also be very careful about the things that we say to those around us. Paul says in one of his letters that we want our language to always be seasoned with grace. So let's be a people who are guarding our tongues, careful with what we say, and that grace is a reflection through our words of the things that are a reality in our hearts. God bless you, Park Meadows. Have a great Thursday, and look forward to being with you again in our worship on Sunday, and then again next week as we celebrate the Passion of Jesus as he moves towards the cross on our behalf. Have a great day.